What up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back, 421. Hope you had a good 420, a good start to the week. There was no League of Legends yesterday, so maybe you're sitting there, you're scratching yourself, you're itching. You had no real life sports yesterday. You had no League of Legends. You had some CSGO, smaller slates, like 5, 10K to first, maybe. It's okay. Everything's fine. They gave us 2 League of Legends games tonight, the playoffs, if you will, pretty much coming our way very, very shortly. This season going to be finishing up in the beginning of May, but then don't worry, the Summer League comes back. You can itch yourself a little bit more, but not too long because Friday, Call of Duty is going to be here on DraftKings. I will have models for that. They will be up on Patreon with projections, the data models similar to what you see on the screen, and rankings. And the goal would be to have some YouTube content for that if there's enough interest. I know some of you watching this are going to say in the comments, yeah, there's interest, do it. But I have to just watch the search engine stuff and make sure it's not just like me putting out a video that gets 500 views and it's just me wasting an hour of each of my days. So it has to make sense, but I'm hopeful that can take the place while we wait for the Summer League of Legends to return, then obviously golf, and then we start to trickle into some other things. I want to give you an update. So welcome if you are brand new here. Sal Vetri. I create daily fantasy sports and fantasy sports content. Please hit the subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, hit the notification bell. And if you're not, then hit both of them. If you are listening on the podcast, hit the podcast subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening to. But I'm going to start creating daily season-long NFL content. I know it's early. I'm just testing out the waters to get my YouTube algorithm up for when that comes, full transparency. But the draft is Thursday. I will be doing a live stream of probably the first 10 picks because the first round is like 6 hours and I'm not staying on stream for that long. And then afterwards, I'll be starting to have videos on these rookies based on where their landing spots are. That's weeks of content right there alone. And then we can start getting into, once we have an idea of when the season is actually going to start, and hopefully it starts on time, start getting into the June and July months of when I'll put out season-long based content. So that's just sort of an idea of where all the content is going. We got Call of Duty, we'll have League of Legends throughout the summer, then golf comes back, and then don't worry, everybody, hang tight. We'll be back to normal before you know it. Hope you all are staying safe and healthy during this time. So hit that subscribe button, do all that wild stuff for me. I appreciate it. Let's get into this video, starting with, so we have a 2-game slate, top lane. Here are your favorites for today. You have E-Star as a 233 favorite over the plus 168 underdog of Team Wii, and then you have T1, which is going to be a minus 227 favorite against Dragon X, the underdog, at plus 168. So it's going to be pretty, I would say, straightforward in terms of like every single team is in play today. I think that seems pretty obvious. Like Team Wii can obviously pull off a victory, so can Dragon X, and I would not be shocked. These are 2 teams that during the season, and very recently, Team Wii, in pretty much their past 2 games, we've been on as underdogs here. Last time that there was a DFS slate, getting just both the underdogs, really 3 underdogs winning, and we were kind of a little bit on top of that one. So I do think all 4 teams are in play. I don't think I'm going to be fading any of them today. So I think it's pretty interesting slate. Now, if you're playing on FanDuel today, and somewhere I don't really play often, but if you are, smaller prize pools, don't really like the product in general, but you have to play 3 teams over there. So you have to play a player from the losing team. Now, I don't think that's a terrible idea because it allows you to get different if you don't have to do that. But when you have to do it, obviously you're not getting that different. On DraftKings, having a 4-2-1 stack or a 3-3-1 stack on a 2-game slate is definitely not ideal. The 4-3 stack is still ideal. It's just so hard to get unique. And if you win, not split it 1,000 ways unless you're putting a support player or a top player in the captain spot. So that gets a little bit difficult. It's interesting to see what we can do here, though. So starting with top lane, Zayube for E-Star is going to be the most expensive top lane. Not that expensive, though, $6,600. So leads the slate in assists, 7.3 assists per contest. We'll start to see what happens here, but Canna and Roach Canna is likely going to get the start, leads the slate in kill participation and damage percentage. So these are players that I like. It depends on the stacks that you want to go to, because I also like the underdogs here. Like Morgan for Team Wii here. If you obviously got the victory, Morgan would be in your winning lineups without question. So so it's a very straightforward approach to find the 2 teams that win. And then if you want to get different, have a one-off spot on one of these losing teams for your convenience. And so the mid laners on the losing teams typically score the most points. But the mid laners on the losing teams typically don't even score or score similar amounts of points to the support players on the winning team. So usually the support players score the least points on their team, right around there with the top players. If they score the least points on the winning teams and the mid laners are scoring the most on the losing teams, it's so hard for a 4-2-1 stack to pan out on these slates unless you get a situation where these are best of 5 series now. One of the games goes all 5 rounds. One of the games gets a 3-0 sweep, which none of these games really seem like that's going to happen. Or one of the games goes 5 rounds, one goes 4 rounds, and the one going 5 rounds is much bloodier. So for specific matchups today, so who do I like on this slate? I think that I actually do like Team Wii yet again as an underdog. I don't know if I like per se their exact matchup today. I think that the matchup between T1 and Dragon X has a lot of upside to just get really bloody is what we can say there. Both teams above a 1.4 KDR on this slate. They both play very long into the rounds, 34 minutes and 11 seconds for T1, 32 minutes and 45 seconds for Dragon X. That has the ability to, per round, go a few extra minutes longer than E-Star and Team Wii. So even if they both go 4 rounds or both go 5 rounds, you're actually getting more time within that round. Now, the downside in the matchup between T1 and Dragon X is that both of these teams don't die that often. 7.8 kills per contest for T1, Dragon X coming in at 9.2. So bloodier might not be the proper word, but I guess you can say lasting longer so you have more opportunity. Team Wii picks up 14.5 kills per contest, and E-Star picks up 17.4 kills per contest. Those two lead the slate out of the 4 teams. So I do think that E-Star is obviously the team that has the most kills upside, but if you were to take a 4-2-1 stack and you wanted to stack your one from, I would probably choose the E-Star and Team Wii game. So if you wanted to stack one player from the losing team and you think Team Wii loses, I would go for one of their losing team players, probably a mid lane option, which would then be Teachama. So that's where I'm at on this slide. Heading over to the mid lane now. So just looking at mid lane, you have some really strong options like Teachama, right? If Teachama was to lose today, you're getting a player that even in losses is picking up some massive points. And in victories, you're getting a $7,200 player who probably just dropped, I mean, now that it's a best of 5, like 120 points on this slate. So I do like that. I do think that stands out a good amount as an underdog. When you start to go down, Chovy is going to be starting most likely today for Dragon X. And Chovy's $6,800 as a mid laner. And now you don't get the kills. You don't really get much upside in those departments. So on a losing team, again, I would rather have Teachama there. From Cryin and Faker up top, Cryin is by far the player that I would want the most. This is where the lineups can start to get a little bit interesting, because if you went to a 4-3 stack and you get Cryin in there and you go for the 3 or 4 man side of your stack with that side, it's a little bit difficult, and like you don't want to be stacking one entire game with Team Wii. I think it's an interesting strategy to say, I'm just going to game stack. Like there's 2 games on the slate, I'm going to game stack Team Wii as my 4-man stack and E-Star as my 3-man stack, because those teams just generate a ton of kills. And I don't think that's the worst strategy, and I think I might actually look into it a little bit more. Your only downside is that like the other team is clearly going to have a winner who gets just a ton more points because wins equal upside in kills and point bonuses. So what you would have to hope for there is, again, that this Team Wii E-Star game goes 5 rounds and it's very bloody, and the other game goes only 4 or 3 rounds and it's not so bloody. And based on the kill and death ratios on this slate, there's a good possibility that that's the case, just on deaths per game being very low for T1 and Dragon X and kills per game being very high for E-Star and Team Wii. So that's a very less likely scenario that you win with a 4-man stack of Team Wii and a 3-man stack of E-Star, right? Taking the underdog and a game stack on a 2-game slate. I don't want you, if you're playing one lineup, to be doing that, but nobody's going to do it. So if you are playing like 100 lineups or even 150 into like the 50 cent and you're only spending $75 tonight, but you have 150 lineups in there, I don't think it's a terrible idea to get some of those lineups in there. Normally on any bigger size slate, that is a way to just kiss all your money goodbye. Tonight, if things break your way and this game goes the full 5 rounds and the T1 Dragon X only goes 4 rounds and it's not a very high kills per round and they're only killing each other like 6 or 7 times per round, where E-Star and Team Wii are putting up like 12 kills apiece, yeah, they're going to be the ones that you need, whether it's win or loss. We've seen Teachama, we've seen Jae Ming drop 120 points in losses this year. So it's definitely capable of happening. So I would actually want Cryin and Teachama. They're my 2 favorite, and then Faker after that. Getting into the support side of things now. So Xiaoyu, Effort, Missing, and Kira. So only 1 support player per team. Missing is going to look really good as probably the player very similar to what I was just saying that you would want to get to in a loss that's going to be really cheap for you, because only $5,000. All these support players are cheap. Nobody hits $6,000 here. In terms of ranking them, I would go Xiaoyu, Missing. So whoever you think wins that game is really good. Probably don't want 2 support players from the same team. Like if I am going to 4-3 stack, I guess you can get a support player in there because you're just naturally going to, but I wouldn't be doing a support player captain in my 4-3 stack. Like you're already really different by game stacking. You don't have to get even more different by putting a very low upside scorer in your captain spot and game stacking. So I would only get one of these support players in there. If you wanted to stack E-Star and T1, the 2 favorites, or say you wanted to stack T1 and Team Wii today, I'm not totally against getting a support player in the captain spot. Normally I am, but on a 2-game slate, you have to get unique somehow. So putting Missing in your captain spot, 10 assists per contest, 9.3% damage, 1.2% creep score, all these things lead the slate. I don't think it's terrible. You can say the same exact thing for Kira from Dragon X. $4,800 in your captain spot, you're going to have infinite money to do whatever else you want with your lineup. Normally, I don't think that's a really good strategy, putting underdog support players in your captain spot, because your upside out of Kira today is like, 60 to 70 points, whereas your upside out of all the AD carries and all the mid laners, and really the AD carries we're about to talk about. And that would be 60 to 70 points on like a 3-game slate. So obviously it's a little bit higher, 80 points to 90 points on this 5-game slate, I would say. Whereas your upside out of these AD carries is like 130 points with the 5 rounds now. So clearly not a fantastic strategy. But again, if it goes bloody, if it goes 5 rounds, if you need things to fit perfectly, I'm not totally against it. Like, I'm not going to put a rule that says don't give me any captains in support or top lane tonight, but I will be putting that rule for teams. Lately, I have been restricting my support in top lane in my captain spot because it's been hitting just way less frequently, and that's kind of been the thing for a while now. And AD carry and mid lane are much better options there. But I do think it'll be interesting building lineups to see what you can get, because you have to get different. One thing I will point out is that you can get to, so the AD carries that we have on the screen, Wink, Teddy, Jaeming, these guys are really good options, right? Def not so much a really consistent scorer, but still fine. Like, it's Wink and Jaeming up top, Jaeming in the captain spot for cheaper, Wink in your AD carry spot as like a one-off, and it's not that great of an option on this slate, but you can put Wink or let's just say Jaeming in your AD carry spot as a one-off, right? So you're doing a 4-2-1 with Jaeming in your AD carry spot as a one-off. Say even in a loss, you could drop 90 points or something, or 100 points on this 5-game slate, and then you have Wink in your AD carry spot for your captain. So Wink's in your captain, Jaeming's in your AD carry spot, and then you fill out the rest of your lineup with 3 more E-Star players and then 2 players from like T1. So your one-off spot, instead of a lot of people usually going a one-off as a team, or a support player or a top lane, you get an AD carry in there. People just aren't going to do that because, one, they're on the same team on this slate, and 2, they're usually really expensive. So I do like Wink. I do like doing those one-off spots with AD carry or mid lane options because they just have a lot of scoring upside. So even in losses, they can hopefully pay it off for you. And usually they're expensive, so people don't build those types of lineups. And optimizers definitely aren't spinning out those lineups. Jungler here. Jungler is just going to be, I think they're all in play. They're all really good scorers. Honestly, the T1 junglers I'm not even that fond of. Cuz probably will start over Elam, but Beisheng, Sayosik, those are the 3 players that I'll probably get to before Cuz. But in a victory, Cuz will obviously outscore whoever probably loses from the other game, and then whoever they're facing. So just not a really good overall kills player. Only 1.5 kills per contest. Beisheng, Sayosik way higher than that. Getting into the team spot now, and I'll pull up actually, and I'll mention it now. It's been on the screen, but Monkey Knife Fight, if you want to deposit for your first time, they'll give you $15 in bonus cash. You can deposit up to $50, and they'll give you like $55 in bonus cash. So it's whatever you deposit plus an extra $5 for your first deposit. And I'll throw in my League of Legends course, which you can check that out. You can get it all ready for these playoffs for the Asian leagues, and then heading into the summer League of Legends stuff as well. Just looking at some of the props that they have Teddy for 116.5 more or less points. Actually like that a good amount. My projections will be out in a few hours, hopefully in the early afternoon today. But Teddy looks pretty good there in terms of 116.5. It's very interesting to see that they have Deft. So they have Deft as a 120.5 more or less, which is pretty much an over-under. I'm just looking at my other screen here. Deft is obviously the underdog today, but they have Teddy as a 116, and Teddy is obviously the favorite. So very interesting to see that they're almost projecting this as if they think that Dragon X is going to win. Maybe they have some sort of information that we don't have. If Dragon X wins, yeah, I think that Deft probably goes for over 120, but I definitely don't think if they lose, which they're projected to lose by Vegas, that Def's going to get there, and Teddy 116.5. So I think that's one that really stands out. We'll see what my projections say a little bit later today. But just pulling up some of these other ones. So you have Cryin from E-Star and Jaeming. So this is a good one. So Cryin, E-Star is who we're talking about, right? Stacking 137.5 for Cryin, the AD carry for 5 rounds at E-Star. I don't hate that. Jaeming at 104.5. I like that a lot. If they win, you're getting more than 104.5 out of Jaeming. If they lose, you have a chance still to get more than 105. So I like the props where no matter what the outcome is victory-wise, you still have at least a good chance to get over 104.5. It's not likely, but maybe it's 30%. Maybe you have a 30% chance if they lose, but if they win, you probably have damn near 100% chance that Jaeming from Team Wei is going to go over 104.5. So those are some of the props you can get over at Monkey Knife Fight. Usually I put them on screen, but I didn't have I'm looking right now, they just uploaded as I was doing this. I didn't have them before. So you can see I'm going to have the 4 team spots available. I'm not going to exclude any of these 4 team spots. I like them. I mentioned earlier that T1 and Dragon X, their rounds probably last longer within the rounds themselves a little bit, just because they don't die as much. They're not as aggressive. You get a good amount of dragon control, lane control on a Dragon X, so they are a live underdog, like Monkey Knife Fight is sort of projecting here. I don't hate that game at all, but the game that you really want to shoot for is E-Star and Team Wei. Like, they're both getting a ton of kills per contest, the 2 highest on the slate by a wide margin. 17.4 for E-Star, you're getting 14.5 for Team Wei. They both will die a good amount. Team Wei dies 13.6 times per contest, most on the slate. E-Star 12.9, the second most on the slate. So these are 2 teams that, as long as it goes hopefully 5 rounds, I don't care who's the winner at that point, there's a good chance that that might just be the game stack that you need if the other game's only going 4 or 5 rounds and they just get way less kills. Like, there's a chance that E-Star and Team Week can have double the amount of kills in their overall game than T1 and Dragon X. If T1 and Dragon X go 4 rounds and E-Star and Team Week go 5, I think E-Star and Team Week have a pretty decent odds to double the amount of kills in their game, which is going to just be way, way, way more impactful than actually picking up the victory or not. So I actually like that type of a game stack the more that I think about it. But my projections will be out later today. If you want to check them out, they're on Patreon. They're linked down below. CSGO stuff's already out. I'll have Call of Duty stuff out there as well. Rocket League when that comes back around, the Outlaw Tour, all that stuff that's going on right up until we get the real sports back with the PGA likely coming first. So appreciate you tuning into this video. Please, please, please hit the subscribe button before you go. You all rock. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. We'll be back every single day with some of the stats. I know that the EU Masters, they have some slates up, a 6-game slate. I'll look back into it and see if I can model it. Last time, just none of the teams had stats. Like, they're all minor league teams, and in the European League, they're literally minor league League of Legends teams. So trying to find reliable and trustworthy and really a long-term approach of data on them is really difficult to do, as you would imagine. It's like me trying to find the single A to the minor league team already in baseball. So you got your 3 minor league teams in baseball. Now go find another league with 3 minor league teams and find the single A thing of that and find all of that. It's crazy how much DraftKings is really willing to go with this stuff. But appreciate you all tuning in. Hope you have a great rest of your day. My name's Sal. You already know that. Subscribe before you leave, and peace out, gang. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed that video. Above my head, if you're not already subscribed to this channel, I do ask you if you can please hit that subscribe button. It helps me out a good amount to reach more people. You can also follow me on Twitter. That's over there. Right in the corner is my @SalVetriDFS Twitter. And then above, you'll find my Patreon link. You can click on that if you want more exclusive content for me, or a video is going to pop up. So why don't you check that one out as well? I think it's going to be beneficial for you. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.